Hi there! In this video I'll show you how to use the design system for your projects. The fastest way to learn how to build a design system is start using one. I'm gonna share with you a design system that I have made for you to use in your projects. Unlike other generic systems you could find in Figma community, this one is built to be used as a brand-specific design system and as a tech specification for the developers. Today we are going to review how to use it effectively. Let's go! Alright, you can find the design system in Figma community. I will leave the link under this video. To start using it, you obviously need to get a copy for yourself, and when you click it, you basically get a copy in drafts. And now I'll show you how to actually use the design system in your files, because now you can see that there are a lot of pages already, and it doesn't really make sense to start designing something in this file, because it will be a mess when you start adding new pages for your project. So it makes sense to either make the design system fit in one page if you are using a free version, or to have separate files. And today I'm going to show you both ways, so you can choose which one do you want to use to work with your projects. First, let's see what we have here. We have colors, obviously, and here they are documented, but the colors you can find here on the right. You have basic colors, black and white. You have neutral colors that have a little bit of blue tint on it. You have brand color, which I've chosen to be purple. And status color, the one that we use for status updates like success, warning, or error. You might notice that the colors have names like rose, amber, then indigo, and for example for neutrals it's slate. So these names are related to the Tailwind, because this design system is compatible with Tailwind. And this is the framework that developers use, and when they are defining the colors, they already have some colors that Tailwind have created for them. So these colors have names, and if you go to Figma community again, you can find the official small design system by Tailwind Labs, and here you have all the different colors that they provide. So these colors are just out of the box, and if you don't want to spend much time on creating your color palette, you can just pick the one that you like and just indicate the name of the Tailwind colors, so developers know that okay, this color they can use out of the box. If you don't like any of the Tailwind colors, you can obviously create your own, and you don't need a name then. Then we have typography. Typography is also arranged here in text styles. We have body text, and here we have base, small, XS, and large, and these names are also related to the Tailwind, so this is how the text is called in Tailwind also. And we have the desktop headlines and mobile headlines. So for example, H1 for desktop is bigger than H1 for mobile. And when developers are defining the H1, they can say that on desktop it is bigger and on mobile it is smaller. So this way it's more clear for the developers how to adjust the headings. If you are not going to use a Tailwind, you can obviously drop these names, because they are here only to make it easier for the developers to pick the text style in Tailwind. Then we have grid and spacing. I have put here 2 grids, actually even more. So the desktop one for the full screen, so it is responsive. The mobile one for the mobile, and the fixed desktop, which is also 12 columns for big screens. So if you are designing for 1920 pixel screens, it is better to use this fixed grid rather than the stretched one, because usually you don't want the content to be stretched on all of the screen, and usually you want it to be a little bit smaller, but of course you are free to change it as you like. And here you have the spacing system, again from Tailwind. It is actually not important if it is from Tailwind or not, because it is really useful for all of your projects. So it is the spacing system that can be divided by 8, which is very convenient for the developers. And if you're using Tailwind, it is even more convenient for the developers, because they can use the name of the spacing and they don't have to adjust the spacing manually. Then we have shadow styles from Tailwind again, border radius, and then starts the most interesting parts, of course, buttons, inputs, accordions. So I want to explore a little bit more, for example, the buttons. You can see here they have several styles, and they are here, so you have different styles. For example, this button is primary, default, no icon, and the size is medium. If you don't like how this button looks like, you can change it. For example, you don't want it to be purple, but you want it to be black. So it's easy to change. And if you're using this button somewhere else, let's copy this one. So for example, I'm using this button somewhere else, so it's not in the component itself. And I have decided to change the style of this button. All the children's are changed automatically, so it makes very convenient to change the design system and adjust your layouts on the go. If you don't like the purple color, for example, you can change the brand color itself. For example, it can be not purple, but something else. For example, let's say green. And as you can see, everywhere where I'm using this color, it was 600 main purple, now it is green. So in every component where I have used this color, and we can see that I'm using it somewhere. Okay, let's find the purple color. And as you can see, I'm using it, for example, in selectors, or for example, I guess in tabs we could also see, yes. So I've used 600 main purple color, and when I've changed it to green, it is changed everywhere. So if you want to change a brand color, you can just change it here, and it will be changed automatically in all the components. Let's undo this action, and I will also make the buttons purple again. Okay, and now let's see how to actually use this design system. So now my design system is in drafts. When I've copied it, it is automatically copied to drafts. So in drafts, it is not really convenient to use the design system if you want to use it in a separate file. To do this, you have to transfer it to the theme. And if you want to use it in separate files, actually the theme has to be paid, because otherwise the design system is not possible to use. So here I choose Move to Project, and I've pre-created the project, which is called Tutorial, and I'll move it here. Okay, so now we are in Tutorial, and from the theme project, which is the paid version, and I will show you also how to use the free version, but for now let's explore the paid one. From the project, I can publish my design system, and it is going to take a while. So I can publish all the styles, and it will take several minutes to publish because it has already a lot of components. So now the design system is published, and if I go back and I'll go to my profile, and I choose the tutorial project that I've created for this video. Here I have my design system, and here I can create another project, new design file. So let's do this. So here I have a new design file. Let's rename it. And suppose that I want to create mobile prototypes. So I go here and create something mobile. This is my preferred size. So how to use the design system in my design file? Well, I can just copy and paste the components. For example, if I want to use the button, I can copy it and just directly paste it here. So now I have my button in my layout, and I can also adjust its style. For example, I don't want it to be medium, but I want it to be big. Okay. But there is also another way to use the design system. If we go to assets, here we now have just one asset, the one that we've just copied, but we can actually connect our design system to this file. To do this, we click on this theme library icon, and here I have already several design systems, a lot, but you might have only one. So the design system that we have published will appear here, and you can just switch it on, and then it will be available from the design file itself. So now when I start searching for the components, for example, here I have different components, and let's say that I want something for mobile, and for example, I want this mobile subnav. So what I do, I just search it here, and it will find me all the components that I need. Let's say I need this one. And let's try something else. For example, a popular component, which is the input. And here we will choose. Actually, it is suggesting me more inputs that I have in my design system, because in this theme I already have published several design systems, but in your case it usually be much less. So I found my input, and I can use it directly. I can change, for example, to a big one, add the icon, for example, on the right. And for example, I want to change an icon. And in the design system, we have the icons. Here in the design project, in the page icons, you could see all the icons that are also the components. These icons are made by Tailwind also, so the developers can use it also out of the box. They can connect the Tailwind library and just name the icon that they want to use without even exporting this file. So when they connect the library, they just mention the name of the icon, for example, tag, and they have the icon right away without even exporting it in SVG from here. They don't even need to do this. So let's see. For example, we also want to use this icon, which is tag, and I can just type the name of the icon, and it already found me all the components that are called tag in the this design system. And if you have more libraries, you might have different libraries. For example, if we make something here and we make it a component, so rectangle 1 a component, and we now go to search for the icon which is tag, it says now no result for tag, and this is because now we are searching for local components, because now we have one. So we have this local component and it is searching in local components. And to search in my design system, I have to switch it and choose the design system that I want to use. So here we have our icon, and I can change it. And for example, I can also change the color of the icon. Okay, sounds great. Let's see also how can we customize this. For example, I have created my very talented and amazing layout, but I don't like the font, for example, or I don't like the color. How can I change it? I've already shown you that I can change everything here, but now we will see how it is affecting our design file. For example, I don't want to use this font, which is Inter, and I want to use something else. So, for example, for font semi-bold, I don't want to use Inter, but let's say source code Pro, and let's say bold. Okay, so you could see that it is changed here, and you could also see that in buttons where I'm using this font and I'm using it, the text is changed, but if I go to my design file, here the text is still the same. And to make it more clear, let's make it even more contrasting. So it was base semi-bold font, and we made it source code. Let's make it also bigger, for example 20 pixels. Here it is changed, but here nothing is changed, as you could see. And this is because we haven't published the changes in our design system. To do this, I can either select the component that I want to publish, that I want to have changes in, or I can go to Assets again, click this library icon again, and publish all the changes that I have made in this design system. So let's publish it now. Okay, so I've published the changes, and now when I go to my design file, I have this notification which says that the updates are available, and if I click here, I can update my design file. So now, as you could see, the font has changed, and to make it even more obvious, let's also change the color. So I'll change the purple to something else. Let's make it pink for this time. Okay, and let's publish this component again. Publish changes. Okay, so now I've published the changes that are related to the button, and here I have the changes about the button. Now the button becomes pink. But if I want to change the color of this icon, you see that here the colors are still the same, they are not pink, and this is because when I was publishing the changes, I've published only button components and I haven't published all the changes in the design system. So if I want to publish all the changes, I have to click on this icon and click Publish here. So here you could see that all the changes that I want to publish are ticked. I can tick on, tick it. And then when I publish the changes related to the color, now I can see that my sixth main is pink now and not purple. I can also switch the components in this file using the design library that I have here. So here I have all my components and I can switch them. For example, I don't want input, but I want a drop down instead, so I can just select the drop down and we're good to go. So here it is now the drop down, and for example I can make it field, and I can change the state, or I can change the size. And be careful, so now we have chosen the medium 44, which is the default size for this component, but the height of my component is actually bigger, and this is because we were switching the components, and the height remained from previous component and not from this one. So if we want the original component, we actually have to reset all changes, and then the size will be reset. And now it is 44, and now I can change it for 36, for example, or for the big one. So this is how to use the design system if you have a paid team. So for example, my team is paid, so I can publish the design system and use it in separate file. But what if you have only free version? Actually, it is also possible to use this design system in free version, but you have to make several changes. I close the design file now and I go to my design system and I will undo our changes. Now when we go to the design system and now we want to start designing here, but it will be a mess if we just create another page and start designing something. And actually in free version you cannot even create another page because it is limited to 3 pages, and here it is obviously much more, so you have to move all the components to one page. And I have actually done it in my different resource file. I also have the e-commerce template that will be available soon, and here I have moved all the design system to one page. So because here I have a lot of pages and it would be a mess to have the design system on separate pages as well, so I moved everything to one page, and this is exactly what you need to do here. To do this, you have to just cut the component, so Command X or Control X on Windows, and you can move it to another page. For example, to inputs, you move the component, Command V, and it is there. When we cut and paste, we move the master component, and it is actually working also with separate files. For example, if you want this component to be in separate file, you can just cut it and paste it to the different file. But if you just copy it and paste it to the different file, then you will have the children component and not the master. So when you are changing something here, something else will change in that file. So be careful, cut is different from copy. When you cut, you move the master component. When you copy, you create a children component. So you just rename any random page to the design system, and you do this for all the components in the design system. So you choose the accordion, you also cut the accordion, and you move it here also. As simple as that. So you just need to copy all the components to one page and then use 2 other pages for your design file. Similar to what I have done to the e-commerce template that will be available soon. This is actually a very interesting file because I have prepared the e-commerce template that is based on research from Weimar University and NN Group, and also other large-scale usability testing. So I have created that template that uses all the insights from these credible sources to build the highly converting template, and I find it very helpful also for my own project, because even though I have read all the sources and I've created this template, I still can forget something when working on e-commerce. And here I have all the insights connected to the page, and I can easily go here and check all the insights when I'm building particular pages. So I can be sure that my design decisions are most informed, and actually I can also steal my own design. And when this template will be available, you could also do this. So it will be much faster to work on e-commerce when I make this available, and it will cost nothing compared to your hourly times. So I highly recommend to check from time to time Tech Foundation to find out when this template will be available, because I think this is an amazing resource. But today we are talking about the design system, and I hope now it is clear how to use the design system in your projects, both in Figma Free Tier and Figma Paid Tier. And good luck with your projects. Don't forget to give a like to this video and subscribe to this channel, because here you could find a lot of free and useful resources for the designers. See you soon!